the way we perceive trauma, and because now the word trauma is everywhere, everything's a traumatic experience. Like the cappuccino not being hot enough, that was traumatic, because of the space we're in. We're just overusing that word, and it's actually losing its power to name a death, to name an assault, to name a physical abuse, an eating disorder, like things that have a heavy weight. At the same time, I say this now to invite contradiction and paradox. We don't know how someone's nervous system and psyches are wired, that perhaps the cappuccino not being hot enough may genuinely be something that frazzles someone and freezes them, and their nervous system may stay in a frozen state. So over time, by them not unwinding, not learning to relax, that chronic contraction may then lead to what we can see a traumatic state, which is a psyche that's paranoid, that's frazzled, that is constantly, wanting to run away from the present moment, doing everything they can to not be here, seeking addictive tendencies, having lows of depression and highs of anxiety, you name it. So just having grace with that sometimes the things that we deem as minor and not traumatic may genuinely be a traumatic experience for other people. So first naming that, and then how do we bring people back into their bodies? This is the greatest question of all. This is the greatest question of all time, because if people were in their bodies, we wouldn't have war. If people were in their bodies, we wouldn't have the industrial prison complex where, before Obama, there was 200 black and brown bodies in there to one white. We wouldn't have that. We wouldn't have food deserts in black neighborhoods, or no hospitals, or no schools in black and brown neighborhoods. We wouldn't have these societal huge mistakes. They only happen from operating from the past or the future, and self-protective mechanisms, which are not something that happens when you are in your body. You don't have capacity to walk hand in hand with people. What's helped me to get back into my body is dancing. It's dancing. It's literally putting on a song and just literally letting the body move, letting the body do the work, and slowly realize that every twist, every turn, every hand gesture, every step on the floor, maybe it's the past dancing itself out of your body and creating an environment that it feels safer for you to be in. Therefore, the mind can inhabit the body more easily, so that's one thing I think that's really helped me. And then if you want to be more strict, the biggest culprit. How old is did you say your nephew? And he's probably on TikTok, on Instagram, all social medias,
Probably.
right? Yeah. I believe that the phone is the biggest weapon of mass distraction. So I believe that the phone is a huge thing. So I don't know how much that your nephew's willing to put down the phone, and maybe if you do spend a weekend with them, you could invite them to a walk without a phone. Just a long hour walk without both of you without phones. You go on a circuit that you know exactly the way around, and you just live from a place of presence. People ask me sometimes, hey, when you're praying in a hospital to a patient, or when you are leading a meditation, do you open your eyes to see if they're doing it too? I say no. And why do I say no? Because if I am really truly coming to a point of presence inside of myself, that is the most seductive thing we have. Presence is the most seductive tool, the most alluring tool. It's the most beautiful thing because it brings warmth to any room. So if you're walking with your nephew and you're present in your body and you're present, all of a sudden they're going to notice the sun kissing your skin. All of a sudden they're going to notice your hair dancing in the wind because you are so at one with life. that you're then inviting the person who's in a very distracted state to then see the poetry in life because you are living as that poetry. Because when we are hovering outside of our body, when we are living lives from the past or the present and just not in the body, not in here, um, we're not doing that because we want to. It's not like it's not a conscious choice. It's our free will is robbed from us because of the depth of our emotional baggage. So the more emotional baggage we have, less free will we have, the more we're operating from habitual tendencies that unconsciously and unfortunately then creates a life built on distraction, you know? So it's hard to say, let's meditate for 30 minutes to someone who's actively choosing to run away from the now. But I think walking is really good without technology, no, nothing. I think eating together without technology is really good, and then just try to decrease um, technology. Play a card game, play Monopoly or Domino, or or one of those. There's so many connection exercises these days that you could try. And it sounds like you guys have a connection too. So sounds like they listen to you, which is wonderful.